Welcome back guys to another tips video. My name is Kingpin and in this video I'll go through endgame clips and talk about the biggest things you need to focus on to see instant improvement in your games. You can learn a lot from watching good players and implementing their techniques, like how they engage squads or how they move around the map. But you can also learn from their mistakes, and that's exactly what we'll be doing, going through the good and bad decisions in our examples today. Before I get into it guys, if you're looking to improve on Warzone and Battle Royale games, make sure you are subscribed because this channel is all about improving and taking your game to the next level. Why be happy with being an average player when you can be an awesome player? So hit that subscribe button and don't miss out any of our tips videos. So let's start with a game of duos I was spectating, and straight away I'll point out the bad decision of going for the loadout when the circle is so small. It's always going to be risky, there isn't much cover and you can be shot from anywhere, and that's exactly what happens. But he does manage to hold off well against multiple opponents, and notice how well he uses cover and constantly keeps moving, so he's a harder target to hit. You need to be strafing as much as you can, especially in situations like this. He's using his equipment, I like that as well, but the one thing I don't like is when this first opponent comes and he moves out of cover to engage him. Guys, you got to be careful when you see somebody coming, you need to be behind that cover. In the heat of the moment, he strafes out of cover and kind of negates his advantage that he had over his opponent. He tries his hardest to survive, even manages to do a 1v2, but because he chose a wrong move and was left in an exposed position, he gets eliminated. We hop to the next team who's only got one member alive and he needs to rotate into the zone. Now from this position I would rotate up and around. If you've watched my previous video, you should know how important cover is. If he goes straight down, he'll just be making the same mistake as the last guy, going into an exposed position and getting shot from every angle. Even if it takes you a little bit longer, if you've got the time, you want to rotate to positions that have decent cover. And he tries to do exactly that, but there's already a team there and he gets eliminated. I like how this next team is checking their side of the zone first before focusing on the enemies across. Guys, most of your fights will be with players on your left and right, so make sure the majority of your focus is on your side of the zone. If you see someone standing still, by all means go for the kill, but don't waste too much time because you need to be watching your flanks for teams rotating into the zone. Now they're getting blocked from progressing into the zone and they make the smart decision to back off and go the other way. Trying to push that house is risky as there isn't much cover in between. The only time you could push is if you down one of them, otherwise just go around. They know there's a team in the house, so they can't just go straight into the zone. The gas will force them to move before the enemy, and those guys will just light them up out in the open. So instead, choosing the safer route is the wiser option. They decide to go left, get shot at a little bit, but manage to make it to safety. Another tip for when you have to run out in the open is for one of you to lay down covering fire while the other crosses, and then switch roles so the other one can cross safely. By putting pressure on the enemy, they'll be reluctant to shoot at you, and you might make it without getting downed and saving some valuable armor plates. They spot the enemy running into the zone and decide to fire. Now his teammate has the right idea. He's moved to cover before shooting, but this guy is completely out in the open. He can be shot from the balcony, the door or the window, and more importantly there's an enemy to the left who could have a straight shot on him. Make sure you're not out in the open when engaging. Now they get unlucky with the zone, and I'm sure you've been in the same scenario. When the zone is against you, it's pretty difficult to win. I would have rotated around the other side of the house where there's actually cover, but these guys get lucky and the other two squads are occupied with each other. However, they decide to shoot before reaching any type of cover. When the enemy squad fires back, they get eliminated easily. You have to be patient. If the enemy doesn't see you, close down the space as much as possible, so if you down someone, they won't be able to self-revive. Or at the least, make sure you make it into some type of cover. For the next example, I'll be spectating a quads game. They've just rotated into the zone, all four of them are still alive, and they've got their loadouts. They're in a strong position to win, but they make two mistakes later on that end in disaster. But for now, they're surrounded by enemies in multiple directions, and they make a good decision to engage the squad coming from behind them. Going for the squads on your side of the zone is always the smarter play. They're making good use of cover and they're all firing at one squad. If you want to be a good coordinated team, you need to engage together. I see far too many players split off from their own team to go a lone wolf and snipe someone across the map. Supporting your team is more important, so make sure you're not that guy. One of them gets killed by a camper and they decide to charge up together and overwhelm him. It isn't a bad idea when you know there's only one person up there. But if there was 2 or 3, these guys could have been C4 going up and squad wiped in 10 seconds. So if you decide to push, make sure there isn't a full squad sat inside. So they've got a choice to make of where to rotate into the zone. If there's high ground on your side of the zone, that should be your priority. If not, then always aim for a place with cover. The bottom half of this circle has barely any type of cover, so the obvious option is to rotate into the buildings. In small circles like this, there will always be someone in every building, so approach with caution. But even if there is, fighting them and taking their position is the better play, rather than rotating out into the open and being shot from every angle. These guys make the right decision and decide to push the buildings.
Mark out, going in.
Only 10 remain, you're nearly done.
There was a squad set up in the building, but since these guys had shotguns, it's an easy battle. My advice for the squad in the building is to have someone on the outside watching for any pushes. That way you won't be surprised when the whole squad pulls up with shotguns and takes your position like you weren't even there. These guys get the strong position and utilize it well to lay down fire on the remaining teams. If these guys decide to camp on inside like the previous squad, the same thing would have happened to them. I'm going to let it play out, see if you guys can spot the 2 huge mistakes that cost them the game, and I'll talk about them straight after.
Setting a trap. I'll spot it. I got you. I got you. Enemy marked.
4 enemies remain. You know what to do.
So did you spot their 2 biggest mistakes? Don't worry if you didn't, everything happened so fast, but the first mistake was by this player was spectating Godoy. These aren't their real names as I've got streamer mode on, but at this point he spots 3 enemies in his line of sight. We know there's 2 other teams left and 3 people are in front, so that means the third team is a solo. You might not figure that out in the heat of battle, so that's not an issue. The mistake is Godoy completely forgets about this third player from this team. Even if we say he didn't see him as he was aiming at someone else, the guy then shoots at Godoy, so now you must definitely know he's there. But Godoy makes one small glance in the entire fight on this right side and doesn't check on this third player again. And that is a huge misplay as he comes up at the end and shoots them in the back. They do get unlucky that the solo player attacks from the other side, but they kill him and are left in a 2v1 against a player Godoy forgot about. And here is our second guy making the next big mistake, which was rushing the player for a 1v1 instead of waiting for his teammate to come and support him. If he played a little bit more patient, they could have easily overwhelmed him and won the game. But Caparelli's left in a 1v1 situation with the zone against him, and like I mentioned, this is a difficult place to be in, as all the other guy has to do is sit and wait for the zone to flush you out, and that's exactly what he does. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm thinking of doing more of these videos where I spectate you guys and comment on the good and bad decisions you make. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, and if you want to improve, don't forget to subscribe, as this channel is all about becoming an awesome player. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.